Hi everybody, welcome to our summer series video. We are the staff of the African-American Black Student Success Center, and today we are going to talk to you all about how to be successful allies and champions for our Black Spartans. My name is Jamal Williams and I serve as the program director of our center.
Hi everyone, my name is Armani. I'm the program coordinator of the African-American Black Student Success Center with Jamal. And just the first point that we really want to get into today is ensuring that we as Black Spartans have seats at the table. So what I mean by that is there may be systemic or systematic reasons why we are not represented or accounted for or have a seat at the table at all. But how can either you advocate on our behalf that we're there or advocate for us until we get there? Occupying that space on behalf of the Black community may bear more responsibility that you can carry. So just advocate for change if you're not having the capacity to really educate. But in the meantime, how can you speak up for us in some way?
Absolutely, Armani. I really like that point, and I think all of the points center off of that is this tie-in that we're asking our allies to do work. We're asking them to really push the causes of Black students, of Black faculty and staff, and of Black people. And the second point I think really hits home as well is thinking about fighting systemic injustice on multiple fronts. Thinking about how can you start with the I? How am I doing this at home? What am I doing to educate my family and my friends and speaking up at home? How am I doing this at work? How am I fighting for the causes of my Black colleagues? How am I making sure their voices are heard? And like you said, they have seats at the table. How am I doing this in my own work? So if I'm faculty, do I have culturally relevant examples in my curriculum, or are all of them centered around whiteness? Or are all of the examples centered around Blackness and people of color, are they all negative, right? That in and of itself is oppressive. So we want to make sure that we have a wide-ranging culturally diverse array of the educational materials that we're using and examples that we're using, because we know that all different colors of people, and definitely Black people, have contributed so much to this country in every area and every aspect of this country. What does the setting look like in my space? Do I have culturally relevant pictures that speak to the community that I'm teaching? Or is it all of white people and white scientists and white writers? How are we advocating for cultural food options, right? The Black students on our campus, we don't have food that represents our culture. Are we fighting for that? Are we looking to shift that? How are we doing our hiring? Are our hiring committees ethnically diverse? Where we are looking for candidates, are we looking in spaces that Black people and other people of color occupy? Or are we going to the same people that we know in the same spaces that we typically use? So is our hiring practice equitable? And how are we intentionally working to eliminate white spaces within to market to people of color, right? Sometimes things can intentionally or unintentionally just be dominated by whiteness, because we're not even looking for Black people and other people of color to be in those spaces. That is the work of an ally and champion. And that's the second point that we have to make sure we're thinking about.
And something else that's very important for all of us to know, Jamal touched on it a little bit when it comes to like the oppressive parts that come with an all-white structure, a less inclusive structure. But at the end of the day, like, educate yourself. We as Black Spartans have learned the same history you did. We understand that there were some parts that were not fully including the picture. So like understanding that we all learned from a pretty Eurocentric lens, and it's okay to learn history that is not of your history. Most people of color did not learn our own history. So us diving deep into our history is something that we had to do on our own. So you can also do that to educate yourself as well. And don't expect us to educate you is the next point we'll get into. But, you know, read books, watch documentaries, and have challenging conversations, and be okay with maybe sounding a little, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Just confused
or ignorant, or like, you know, be okay being uncomfortable.
Take chances.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You got to take some chances to grow. And you already touched on it, but do not assume that Black people and other people of color want to always be the ones to educate. There's a litany of resources, books, journal articles, movies, documentaries, news articles. It's out there. Find it. Start with something. I would much rather help educate somebody who's already taken some steps than somebody who just shows up and says, how did you get your hair like that? You can do some Google searches to understand how my hair locks like this. And then if you have other questions and we can have an actual culturally engaging dialogue, I'm okay with that. But the information's out there. You can go find it. We have a great library at San Jose State, our MLK library. Please use that, because it's culturally taxing to continually ask Black people to teach you. So be aware of that.
Right. And just lastly, challenge your friends, families, colleagues, and others to become aware of their racial biases. For you to really educate yourself, and having an informed discussion can really create a lot more change that we might not be able to do on our own. So understanding how we contribute to the system of oppression of ourselves and others is very important, and that's step one. So really just try to challenge yourself to have more informed discussions, and if people aren't ready, maybe give them those resources so you can together create more change within just one conversation.
Absolutely. What we are asking for you all is to do a very clear and conscious rethinking of how you've learned about society, and to reshape that, to understand that society was built on silencing voices of color. And we are asking you all to reshape and rethink that, so that you can be our allies and be champions for all people of color and underrepresented, underserved communities. With that, we thank you for listening to our video. Please feel free to reach out to us at the Black Student Center. Again, my name is Jamal.
I'm Armani.
Have a great day.